new and awaited Risk of Rain 2 DLC, Allied Collective, is here and has been out for a week and a half now. Is it worth your money as a longtime enjoyer or as someone who's never touched it? For the short answer, yes. As for the long answer, well, that's what the rest of the video is for. Let's jump into the pros of Allied Collective as well as the cons, and whether or not the base game and the other two DLCs are worth it. The good. Allied Collective does a lot of good that deserves praise. Boss fights. Allied Collective does one thing particularly well that has been severely lacking in the previous two DLCs. Boss fights. The past two DLCs have had at best mid, and at worst, genuinely unenjoyable boss fights. More on that later. Allied Collective is a completely different story. I'll try to avoid spoilers as much as possible, but man, all the major added boss fights are fun, engaging, and feel like a genuine boss fight without feeling unfair. Since the release of 1.0, I've had the opinion that Mithrix is by far the best boss in the game, and I still think that he is the best, but all of the new bosses with Allied Collective come very close. Drone updates. With the Allied Collective DLC, the base game got a significant update to drone AI, which makes them feel so much more useful. In the DLC, there are also a bunch of new drone types that are interesting and make buying drones much more exciting and engaging. The new interactables for drones are really good additions. Having the option to turn your drones into scrap or combine your drones for more powerful versions is really nice. I always love having more player agency, and every changer on the drones has really felt like they had player agency in mind. Survivors. Both of the new survivors, Operator and Drifter, feel super great to play. They both have some very fun abilities and are a significant improvement from Chef and False Sun. I have yet to unlock most of Operator's ult skills, but all of the ones I have are well designed and unique, and Drifter's base and ult skills are all just as good. Visually, their models are great too, and both of the mastery skins look nice. Music. I'll admit, when I heard that Chris wasn't going to make the music for this DLC, I was worried, but Stavros Markonis cooked hard with the soundtrack. If I hadn't known that it was made by someone else, I wouldn't have guessed. Chris still did some work on the music for Allied Collective, but either way, the music of this DLC is fairly comparable to the previous music in the game. Chris will always be the GOAT, but still, the music of this DLC is super solid. The bad. The DLC isn't all good, so here are the couple qualms I have with it. Items. A good amount of the items are a bit underwhelming. It's always nice to have additional items, but it's a lot nicer when those items feel fun to use. There are a few items that do feel fun to use, and the new meal items are a great addition that I hope to see more of in the future, but a large majority of the items don't really feel very interesting. Lack of skins. I don't understand why most of the DLC skins are just for the base survivors. I would have loved to see both a Purge and Decompile skin for each survivor, including all the DLC survivors, and it really wouldn't be all that much effort to add them. Also, adding Prime Meridian skins to the DLC 2 and 3 survivors, and Void skins to all the survivors as part of the survivors of the Void DLC would be really nice. I would really like to see all survivors have a base skin, a Mastery skin, a Void skin, a Prime Meridian skin, a Purge skin, and a Decompile skin. It really wouldn't be all that difficult to do so, and it would be a really nice addition to the game. Gearbox. I can't in good conscience recommend Risk of Rain 2, and especially Allied Collective, without at least mentioning Gearbox. Gearbox, being a AAA game company, is, well, a AAA game company. Risk of Rain 2 gets barely any content outside of DLCs, and with them being sold for $15 each, it's getting a bit heavy on the cash expectation. Gearbox also has a pretty awful CEO, and a lot of controversy around recent EULA updates and release of new titles. I really wish that Hopoo Games never sold the Risk of Rain IP, and especially not to a company like Gearbox. I have nothing against the developers who are working on Risk of Rain 2 and its DLCs, but it really upsets me to have to support Gearbox to enjoy the game I've loved for so long. Base game and previous DLCs. I also want to talk about the good and bad of the base game and the previous DLCs. Base game. If you like the idea of a shooter roguelike, you will like Risk of Rain 2. I have personally sunk nearly 1,500 hours into the game since I bought it in late 2019. It's not a game for absolutely everyone, obviously, but I do think that a lot of people are missing out on an amazing game. If you think that the game might be for you, I think you should watch some content on it or just go ahead and buy it. Worst case, if you don't like it, you can refund it, and you can grab it for a pretty solid price during some sales. Survivors of the Void. Survivors of the Void was the first DLC and the only one that was developed by Hopoo. It adds a lot of great content that pretty seamlessly merges into the base game. Void items are a really fun addition to the game, and I really wish that they would add more. The only thing I majorly dislike about Survivors of the Void is the Voidling boss fight and the way to get to it. Voidling is genuinely my least favorite boss fight out of any in the game. Overall though, Survivors of the Void is an amazing DLC, and if you have the base game, I would severely recommend getting it as well. Seekers of the Storm. Seekers of the Storm was the first major content that Gearbox solo developed for the game, and frankly, it sucked. on release. It was littered with bugs, had genuinely useless items, and 2 very boring survivors. However, since then, they have patched those bugs and reworked some of the items and survivors to be much better. The False Sun boss fight is pretty mid, not quite as bad as Voidling, but it's one of my least favorite bosses. After the post-release changes, it's still not perfect by any means, but it is a big improvement from how it was originally. It's by far the weakest DLC, but if you've got the money and you like the game, it's got some nice additional content. What should you buy? If I were to give a genuine recommendation to a new player or someone considering buying the DLCs, here's what I would say. Buy the base game if you haven't. And if you enjoy it, buy Survivors the Void as well. If you want more content, Allied Collective is a great place to go next. It's a great DLC, but it feels a lot more like an addition. It doesn't affect the way you generally play all that much. If you get to the point of wanting Allied Collective, I do think that Seekers of the Storm is good enough to buy, but not necessarily at full price. Wait for a sale and then buy it if you want it. Speaking of sales, the base game and the first 2 DLCs are on sale right now until December 4th, 2025. The base game is a very attractive $8.24, and both of the first 2 DLCs are $9.74 each. So if you want to buy it, now is a very good time to. You can get both the base game and Survivors of the Void for less than $20, which is a great bargain considering the base game alone is down from $25. If you do miss the sale, the game is still worth every bit of that $25, and it goes on sale semi-regularly, so don't be too upset. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, I would greatly appreciate if you would consider dropping a like and a sub, and maybe even sharing it with somebody. YouTube thinks you'll enjoy the video on the left, and they're probably right, just saying. I don't currently have any other Risk of Rain content, but I am planning on making some soon, so hopefully when you watch this, I'll have a playlist on the screen for it, but if not, I do have other content that's also pretty cool.